Shut up and refill more popcorn! Shut up and refill more popcorn!
Waka waka guys, welcome back to another edition of Bizarro Shut Up and Refill My Popcorn. If you're not familiar with how the show works, just understand the word Bizarro. The gimmick on the main podcast, as you can see behind me, is I talk about the lowest rated, worst sequel in a franchise. So Bizarro meaning the opposite, meaning on this show, I'm going to do a review of, in my opinion, my favorite film of said franchise. If you remember back, I think it was season 4, I was joined by Sarge the Destroyer, and we reviewed Critters 4. Now, if you don't know or haven't heard that episode, go back, do yourself and me a solid, and go check that out. It was a really, really fun episode. Like I said before, all the ones that I have with guests are really fun for me because it's something different. And, it's good to have someone else to bounce, words about film and stuff like that. So, you can check it out after this episode, or you can check it out before. It doesn't matter. As long as you check it out, that's going to be on the main feed. This, of course, is going to be on the extra butter feed. And which film in the Critters franchise have I decided to check out? Well, since it's the Easter season, Easter is upon us, what better film in the franchise to talk about than Critters 2, the main course? Huh? You see what I did there? Huh? Cue the Easter Bunny.
Oh, this is great. The Easter Bunny with his tehachapi hanging out. Give them kids a real education.
Alright, so it's been a while since I've seen this film. It's been quite a bit of a while. And I don't even think I saw the movie as a whole the very first time. Because the very first time, this film of course came out in 1988. I would have only been 1 year old if I watched it as it came out. So it would have been years into my early childhood that I've seen this film. And the only thing I remember is that freaking Easter Bunny scene we just saw. So it was pretty fun and for me to come back and rewatch this film. Like I said, it's been a while. And off the top of my head, it's incredible to see who the actors are in this film. Now, if you remember in the first film, Brad Brown, who is played by Scott Grimes. Now, if you're familiar with Orville and probably other things, I think he was in an episode of SVU. He was a child actor. Now, his character was in the first film. Granted, I haven't seen 1 or 3. Sorry. But he returns back to the hometown where his family first encountered the critters in the first film. In the town of Grover Bend. Bendover. So he returns a few years later after the first film to visit his grandmother. Now at this time, like I said, I haven't seen the first one, and I will go back and watch it to kind of connect the dots. But for everything I've taken from this film based on this first film is that the events that happened in the first film didn't happen to the townsfolk. It just happened to his family and their little farm, in their little ranch farmhouse. Now, he comes back to visit his grandmother. The whole town kind of knows about the boy who cried alien or, space monsters. Everybody kind of sees him as like this weirdo kid. This, that's a run-in. This boy who cried wolf kind of scenario. Now, in the first film, we see Charlie. Charlie has since gone into space with the bounty hunters, Ugg and Lee, and has become a space bounty hunter himself. Well, they have to go back to Earth because that mission that they bounty hunters did, wasn't complete. Why, you say? Because they left eggs. The critters left a thing of eggs that have been discovered by some townsfolk and ironically been painted in preparation for the church Easter egg hunt. Yeah. Um, so it kind of is weird. It's kind of like just bad timing, I guess, for Brad to return. Uh, you know, it's even said in the film, some of the townsfolk blame him, like, oh, he came back and now these things are attacking. There's kind of a, you know, thing going on there. But we see Charlie returning, who was the town drunk. Now he's, off the sauce. And the return of these crits. Now, the bounty hunter Lee, for so whatever reason, can't find a form for himself, so he just stays as a blank, faceless alien bounty hunter. There is a scene in this movie that the actress who plays Lee, or the form that Lee finds to make himself a human, was a Playboy playmate, and she showed her boobies. She showed her boobies. So they return and they go into town and basically help eradicate these I think they call them krites or crits or whatever, but critters. Um, the sheriff from the first film got voted out. He's living out in the country, and I want to say a Winnebago, but he's living in a trailer house out in the country. When the shit hits the fan, or the new, excuse me, I'm jumping around. The scene we saw with the rabbit was the new sheriff, who was kind of being a grump, pain in the ass, but basically was said to put on the Easter Bunny costume and get ready to greet the kids. So now, like I said, shit's hitting the fan. People are dying. These fucking critters are running amok, messing up the hungry heifer. Lee, for whatever reason, goes on her own and decides, I'm gonna take these fuckers on by myself. Well, they trap her, him, whatever, and Lee is devoured. And this upsets Ugg. This puts him in like almost a depression mode, where he goes into his own faceless. He transforms himself and goes back to his form. And throughout the film, we're seeing glorious returns. The first one in the form of the first sheriff. He is played by Barry Corbin. Now, he at first runs off. They say, hey, we need your help. He's like, fuck this place. This town can kiss my ass. And he takes off. Well, then he makes his triumphant return with his sheriff badge and his 2 6-shooters. Billy Badass. And the town folks all congregate into the church and try to take shelter there and form up a plan of like what do we do? Who do we call? These bastards chew up all the phone lines. We can't leave. They blocked the only road out of town, Tremor style. And so Brad tells the townsfolk, they all gather together to eat. So we'll just go to the Hungry Heifer's, warehouse just at the end of town, for whatever reason, it's called the Polar Bear Burger or Polar Burger, which I guess it's a play on, this is where we keep the frozen food for the restaurant that's only like so big. Anyways, they decide they're gonna trap them in that warehouse and blow them to smithereens. So they all gather up, they all go in there and set up everything, throw all the burgers on the floor, all the fries, everything's frozen, all the french fries, all the meat, everything's just there. And they begin to throw out the fan, so like to spread the aroma, like to spread the scent. And already these critters have devoured a whole field of livestock, a whole field of cattle, and they catch a whiff of the hungry heifer frozen patties and stuff, and they all take off. Now when they take off, the wind shifts. They get close enough, but they don't make it into the warehouse, and the wind shifts. And then they smell the town folk. And now they're like, fuck that, we're gonna go over here. This is with live meat. And they start taking off that way until the leader or the biggest critter there stops them and basically says, no cheeseburgers, no bones. Let's go over here. And they're like, all right, fuck it, yeah, let's go over there. No bones, fuck it. So they all go that way. Later we see, who the fuck was this big ass critter? Like, where the fuck did he come from? It was Ugg. This whole time it was Ugg. Transformed into a critter to get them into the warehouse to blow them to smithereens. Tip my hat. And before this even happens, Charlie runs off like a little bitch. Charlie is just part of you as the audience thinks, okay, it's cool he's back, but he wasn't really. I mean, was he a bounty hunter? Was he not? So we don't know until the end of a little bit closer to the end of the movie what really happened. But he takes off. So this incident with Ugg and they blow it to smithereens and they think, yay, we did it, we won, they're destroyed. Nah, motherfucker, these sons of bitches ball up. And I don't mean like in the little ball. These motherfuckers form a big ass fucking critter ball and just starts rolling out and in towards the town. And not only to the town, towards the church where the children and all the other older people have congregated. And they're just hauling ass in the truck. They, I mean Brad and Megan Morgan, which is a weird fucking play on words. She is the daughter of the newspaper editor there, and who is just kind of like, I think he's the only one that got shot with the porcupine needle or spine or whatever. And that dude was out like, oh fuck, he was all fucked up. So they go down, they try to divert the ball. They're able to push it off course for only for them to go around the building and come back and go back towards the church. Well, where did Charlie run off to? Charlie went to the spaceship. Charlie hauled ass to the spaceship, got in it, cranked that son of a bitch up, and started flying it towards this big ass ball of critters. Boom! Crashes it. Everybody's thinking, oh, he sacrificed himself to kill these critters. Nah, that fool had a parachute. But we don't see that until the end. Spoiler alert. I mean, it's been 35 years, So we see the spaceship come and blow him to smithereens. Yay! Oh no, it was Charlie. Oh, sad moment. Oh, it's the end of the movie. Now, granted, Brad had come for Easter vacation to visit his grandmother. Only chilled out for like one night. Because the following night, shit just went crazy. So now the movie's closing to the end. The sheriff and Brad get on the bus to get out of town. Ugg finally transforms himself into Charlie to honor him for the sacrifice that he made. Only to find out this fool came out of nowhere with a parachute dragging on his butt, and so yay, now he's a town sheriff. Okay, cool, whatever. What are my takes on this film? Well, one, it's. I always thought critters, in my head, yeah, they eat people, and yeah, there were times in this film where you see just people like just. I think one of the guys or the sheriff in the bunny outfit, you saw like pieces of stomach, blah blah blah, blots of blood and shit. And then there was one guy with half his face eaten off. That was from the very first when the critters hatched in his workshop or his antique shop. And then there was one scene where they were all in this huge ball and they're rolling towards people and they run a dude over, and literally they just like his whole back is just a skeleton and just red from like them eating the bones off of him and his clothes. But yeah, I mean, in my head, I just always assumed Critters was this crazy, gory film, but in reality, it really wasn't. It's, of course, I'm older and I'm not as a little bitch like I was as a kid. But yeah, man, this movie, like, I've seen the fourth one obviously for the episode I did with Sarge, and this one for this episode. But I think I'm gonna watch the other two. I just I don't think I have three. I need to find three and watch it. But I definitely have part one, and I'll probably watch that just in my leisure time. Maybe I'll talk about it um, as an episode of Popping My Movie Cherry. You know what I mean? All these extra butter shows, they have a meaning, and so yeah, that's the deal. That's what's going on. That's what's on my mind on this episode of Bizarro SuRmP. And it just rolls off the tongue. SuRmP, SuRmP. Shut up and refill my popcorn. I hope you enjoyed this episode. Please do me a solid. Go check out some of the old ones. They're all different. But they all now have new cover art. So each show has its own cover art that I will put out. And it was fun. It's been fun. So with that being said, I want to thank you guys for checking out this episode. Please go follow me on all the socials. Hit up the link tree to really find where you can see me. And, I can only end this how I normally end all these shows and episodes. If you ain't laughing, you ain't living. Take care of yourself and the people you love. Happy Easter, everybody. Nanu nanu. Peace.